Hey y'all, welcome to my first YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I do this quick weave 2x6 closure plus a layered cut. So I'm super excited to show you guys. Hopefully y'all like and subscribe because I will be having more tutorials coming, and follow me on all my socials. But without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so I'm just going to start with freshly washed and braided hair. I have my wig cap, my oil, my olive oil, wig glue, my rat tail comb, and my Ruby's Kisses. This is just the first part of this tutorial. So I'm just going to use my wig cap glue to exclusively brush all of my edges back. I want to save my edges, I want to preserve my edges. I don't want any breakage of my edges, so I normally use that to comb it back. Then I'm going to take my wig cap and I'm just going to apply it on there, and I kind of get started with this process. This process isn't really hard. I'm just going to use my even spray and I'm going to spray it all over my hairline. Really get that wig cap saturated, okay? That hairline part is saturated. And I'm going to use my blow dryer in cool heat, and I'm going to blow dry it. Make sure it is dry. It doesn't really take that long to dry. Even spray. Then I'm going to use my Ruby's Kisses and I'm going to vigorously, because I was working, vigorously color the middle section of my hair. Then I'm going to take my weave protectant, that's what I like to call it, weave protectant, and before I just slather it all over my head, I like to trace where I want the protectant to start and stop. This is where the 2x6 will be at, so I like to trace it, and then I'm just going to spread the remaining parts of it out all over my head. Now I'm going to, you see how I unscrewed the lid? I was just over it. I'm going to just put all of this throughout my head. Now this process should only take like 10 to 15 minutes to dry. If it takes a little longer, you probably need to work on making sure you even out the coat really well, because that happened to me when I first started doing quick weaves. Like, I wasn't really evening out the coat. So yeah, you should see, it's getting messy, but yeah, it normally takes like 15 minutes for it to dry completely fully. And make sure you just even it out. I'm using that brush in my hand to kind of even it out, and you know that you're evening it out because one, it's drying faster, and two, it's kind of harder to brush through. I get really messy at the back because I was too lazy to actually use a mirror to see the back of my head, but it's okay because when it dries I could just peel it off my skin, so it's no big deal. But yeah, then I'm going to use my even spray, and I'm going to just for extra protection, I'm just going to spray the even spray all over my head, and I just go crazy with this, and I let it dry, like I said, for 15 minutes. I do blow dry it for like a good 5 minutes to speed up the process, but then I just let it air dry for like 10 minutes. Now, when the weave protectant and the even spray is completely dry, it should be easy for you to take it out without causing any harm to the wig cap. So in this method, I'm just going to do like a pull method. I pull the wig cap and cut, because although I do want it to cover my hairline and protect my hairline, we don't need all of that space. We don't need all of that wig cap. I like to use as minimum amount of wig cap as possible when it comes to quick weaves, because I just don't like too much wig cap. It's just unnecessary. So I do like a pull and cut method. And make sure you watch out for your ears. You know, you don't want to cut your ears or clip your ears or anything. So I just pull and cut, and that's pretty much what I do for the base. After I'm done cutting and dusting off all the wig caps, you are now ready to apply the weave. I'm gonna leave this flap open, just when I'm ready to take it out. I can just take it out easily in just one pass. I'm gonna use Wequeen hair. I got this hair off the TikTok shop. This hair is really, really nice and affordable. If you just want a quick weave, just want to get, something, done to your hair, I use the red burgundy one, and I'm also going to use the black one, same company. So in this 2x6, this is really crucial. Like, you have to make sure it is in the middle. And right here you could just see, like, okay, do I want it to cover this much of my forehead, or do I want it to cover a little less? It's really crucial. I hate this part, honestly. I'm going to use a needle and thread. I see a lot of people glue the closure, but me personally, I don't like gluing the closure because it doesn't work. It doesn't really stick for me. So I just like sewing in the closure like normal. It's more sturdy, more durable, and it just makes it feel tighter to me, in my opinion. So as you can see, like, the whole process, especially on the first side, I'm going to sew and kind of check the closure. I'm sewing and checking, meaning, like, I'm just checking to see, okay, is it midline? Is it where I want it to be? Is it the level where I want it to be on my face? Is it a little too far from my forehead? Is it going to make it appear like I have a big forehead? Is it going to make it appear that I have a small forehead? I want to make sure that it is the appropriate place of my head. So that's why I keep, like, sewing and then looking, and then after a while it's like almost half sewn in. I kind of just go ahead and just go crazy, and I just sew the rest like it's normal and regular. Another thing, there is no genuine trick to sewing. I just go ahead and sew it and just make sure it's super tight. Then I take my the last two, and I just make sure it is secure. And there's no turning back from here, like, no turning back. I can't I'm not gonna unsew this, like, this is it. So you just have to make sure it is up to par. Even in this video, I did it is a little deviated, it is a little shifted to the side, but it's okay because I could still work my way around it. Then you saw me, I took my E-band and I just put it on my forehead. I don't really like lace glue like that, so that's why I normally do that. I'm gonna take my weave, and I'm just gonna start applying the weave to the tracks. I'm going to apply the tracks to my head. I always apply the first one behind my ears. Like, the first two are always going to be behind my ears. I'm going to make sure it's extra secure. And this is what I'm just going to do for the remainder of my head. I'm just going to layer it. So one layer will be red, and then the other layer will be black. Red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black, all the way to the tippy top of my head. See, now the third one, I think this is the third track. I normally do the third track midline to the top of my ears, or a little bit behind my ears, but I like to put them, not majority, but a good amount of tracks behind my ears, because I want my bundles to look full. I want my hair to look as full as it can be, so I try to preserve the amount of space I give my each bundles. The less bundles that you have on your head, the thinner your hair looks, the less preservation that you have for your bundles, if that makes sense. Your bundles are going to be more spaced out the less weave that you have on your hair, but the more weave that you have on your hair, the more full and thick bundles that you have on your hair, the less preserved space it's going to be on each track. So right here I'm wrapping the weave around my head, and I do this for the remainder of my the remainder of my hair. So before, it was like a couple of them, like a good 6 tracks were like at the back to my ear, and then for the remainder of my head, I just wrap it around my head, wrap it around my head, wrap it around my head, because I don't want, let's say for instance, wind blows. Okay, if wind is blowing in your hair, um those tracks are going to show, and that's what you want to prevent. So that's mainly the reason why people go to the front, and they kind of like have that front vibe. They kind of wrap it around from front to from right to left. They kind of wrap it around, so when it's blowing or the wind is blowing or you're moving, those tracks are not showing. Okay, so after I am done, I'm officially done. This is the last track. I'm going to make sure I secure that lace, okay? And I am going to go ahead and I'm going to flatten it out and blend my lace with my Quickweave. I'm going to use my edge stick, and I'm going to use my hot comb, and I'm going to, flatten it out. Make sure it's flat. Make sure it is secure. Always make sure that my hot comb is extra hot, extra hot. Make sure it flattens it and my hair looks more seamless. After that, after it's to my liking, I'm going to go ahead and start with the cutting, because that's what we're here for. First, I'm going to use BioSilk. Okay, I love BioSilk to the day I die. Like, I can never get enough of BioSilk. I can never get enough of BioSilk. Like, it does what it needs to do for me. Like, I used it a couple of times in this video. So let's get to cutting. Okay, I'm going to cut where my chin is. That is a good place, especially when you're trying to frame it to your face. You always want to start cutting where your chin ends. Okay, so now I'm just gonna cut diagonal. Remember, I'm not cutting like cutting. I'm feathering. You see that up and down motion? I'm not chopping. I'm not doing the chopping method. I'm more feathering. Feather, 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 feather. Okay, you want it to look seamless. You don't want it to look so blunt. Okay, you don't want that. So now I'm gonna separate my the hair again. And where the cut stopped on the first part, I'm going to continue. So it just looks like a diagonal downward cut. Okay, and then I'm gonna go with my third part, and I'm gonna do the same thing, diagonal cut. All right, so this is what it's giving. This is what it's looking like, but we're not done, babes. We're not done. So I'm gonna go to the top part of my head, and I'm going to avoid cutting the front, like the front of my head. As you see, like, I'm going to like separate it a little bit, because I don't want to cut the front, like where my face is. I want to cut the hair, okay? And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut it in a diagonal motion. All right, then I'm going to cut it just a little bit more. You want it to be the shortest part of your hair. You want it to be the shortest part of your hair. Then I'm going to go right under where I cut now, and you see how you could clearly see, like, it's layered. That is the point. You want it to look layered. And then I'm just going to proceed, and I'm just going to cut that part as well, okay, to give it a layered look. Now look at it. It just looks so fluffy, so layered, and that is the goal. I'm going to shift that to the side because we're done cutting that part, and I'm going to go right under to where I cut, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to cut it and I'm going to layer it, okay? But you need that reference layered part that you had before to know where exactly to cut. You don't want to just start cutting everywhere. You want it to be layered. So I normally do this 3 times. I do the top, then the middle, then the bottom. And that's all I pretty much do. And this is what it's looking like. Compared to the side I didn't cut, how flat it is and how volume that is super T. Okay. So now this is what the whole head looks like after it's cut. I'm gonna go back in that bio with that bio silk. I love me bio silk. It just makes everything look so good and silky and crisp. Going to lather all over my head again, and we're going to get into the curling. Super excited. I'm gonna use an inch and a half. I think it's an inch and a half. The big curls, all right, because that's what I want. I want big curls. And I'm going to curl in an upward motion, in a up, like it's gonna look up, you know. I want my curls to stick out. I want my curls to have volume, so I'm gonna curl it upward, so it's like it attracts. It's, you know, it's curled up. That's what you want. That's what you want. Okay, so I'm going to pin it up. I always pin up all my curls after, and I want it to swoop up. You see that hand motion? Like, that's how I want my curls to look. That's how I want my curls to give to the girls. So that's what I do. While it's still hot, I always roll it up, roll it up, roll it up. When I roll it up, I pin it. Okay, that is the key. That is the key to long lasting curls. That is the key to luscious, beautiful curls. You want to pin it up, especially while it's still hot. Okay. This is the last curl. I am super excited and I am super tired at this point. I'm just ready for it to be over. O-V-E-R, okay? I pin the last curl, of course, and this is the perfect time for me to clean up my area and get ready. This is how much I cut. It's not even that much than I expected, honestly, but that's fine. Now I'm going to use my even spray, and I'm just going to spray it everywhere. People might think I'm crazy for using even spray, but I did not have like hairspray, so I'm just going to have to use that. Now I normally wait like 30 to 45 minutes to take down my curls, but I got too excited. I did curl it back up and pin it again, but I just got too excited. I'm just like, okay, I got to see what this is giving. I got to see what it looks like. And the vision was most definitely there. Like that, the vision I had was there. But I decided, I curled the two fronts, where my, like, the ones that are on my face, those two curls, the front curls are on my face. I curled it the same motion I curled like my whole head. But I went back and I curled it. You see how it's like curled up? I went back and I curled it the opposite way. Okay, so you can see in the, yeah, you can see it's all curled the same way. So I went back and I curled it the opposite way, and I think I liked it better than curling it the same way as all my curls. So this was the vision. I felt like I could have left my curls in a little longer, and I did. So I curled my hair up, pinned it back up, did my makeup, got ready because I'm gonna go out. Okay, and this is what it was giving. Okay, like this is super cute, super cute, super tea. This is exactly what I wanted. The layers, you can clearly see the layers, you can clearly see the curls popping. You see how everything is pushed up, like the curls are out and about, like they're really, really attractive, really, really poking out, and that was the goal. So yeah, I really like how this turned out. But that is the end. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. I'm going to come out with a whole bunch of more tutorials later on, most definitely. So please subscribe, like this video, comment, follow on my socials. Bye.